Hello everyone, my name is Chris Murphy and thank you for visiting my channel. This channel is all about empowering agents to master their craft and become better leaders. If this information is helpful, if you think it's interesting to you, or if you just like watching this crazy guy, give me a subscribe, a comment, do me a favor and share it with others. I'd love to know your opinion. Guys, stick around to the end. I'm giving you a cool little tip and trick. You're really going to love it. It's going to be helpful and very useful, especially if you're a new agent. So today's numbers, we had 68 dials. I had 4 people pick up the phone. I got 2 quotes out there. I got 2 apps started and 1 closed. I'm waiting on the client to sign it from Transamerica. They didn't have time right there. They were driving, so hopefully they sign it over this weekend, and I can submit that on Monday. So great day today. If you notice my pickups to quotes to talk time, which I got 193 minutes of talk time. So definitely, getting better. I feel the confidence coming out. Yesterday was a really rough day and I did what you're supposed to do. I regrouped, studied, I got my mind right. And, I came in the next day fully refreshed, new day, being the best Chris I can be. Plus, it was pretty cool because yesterday we did call reviews. So Dana was going over call reviews, and she picked one of my calls that I sent her, and it was a great call because I totally was like on pace, and she was saying my tone was good, my pace was good, how I combated the lady in the beginning was good, and I skipped a step, like I skipped a whole process of our. And I did it at the end, which doesn't make as much sense. So we were discussing on how, the process and when you're doing things are so important because they add and build to the end. I actually, uncovering the pain, which you're supposed to do right after discovery. And I did that more towards the end, right before we went into quotes. So it wasn't the same. The lady, ended up, she wanted a large amount in the first place, and she has talked to a couple people and it's too high. So, when I chatted with her about expectations, I I I didn't have I forgot to do the uncovering the pain, so the expectations in that I couldn't pull as much. And that's when, hey, you told me before that you were, 25,000 after you do education, right? And, can I give you some contents on that and why you're hearing that? And, it would have been a lot, I think, better because then I could have pulled on the heartstrings then about uncovering the why. And, the discovery was great, but, uncovering the pain, I kind of did that and I kind of didn't. And I guess I just forgot, or maybe I felt like I didn't need to. So when it came down to it, what the lady could afford was not what she wanted. And she was uh, going to be getting this job and having some income come in the next 2 weeks. So she wants to get the larger sum in 2 weeks. And she didn't want to go through getting some now and then increasing it. And she totally knows her situation, that if she was to die in the first 2 weeks, something would happen to her. And Dana asked me a question that really hit home. Like, it was one of those questions when someone asks you and you sit back and you're like, man, you're right. She goes, so let me ask you, Chris, did you believe her? And I was like, oh yeah. She's like, then that's all needs to be said. And I was like, you're right. If I believed her, then there's no way that I could help her or justify getting it in place today or putting anything in place because I believed her. And so, she won. There's always somebody that wins in the conversation. And she sold me on her belief that it's okay to wait 2 weeks before she puts something in. How ridiculous is that when you say it? She sold me that it's okay to wait 2 weeks and I'll just get more for my son then, but I'll be okay with not having it for the next 2 weeks. As somebody who sells insurance or is passionate about that, that is unacceptable. You should never, ever, ever accept that it's okay to wait to put coverage in. You know why? Because there's countless stories after story after story of where somebody got off the phone and then went and did something and got hurt and then tried to get that. I mean, it's actually happened to me. I know somebody who I talked to, they went, called me like a couple weeks later, said, "Hey, Chris, I'm ready to get that insurance." I was like, "Okay, what's going on?" And then they told me they got into an accident and they hit their head and now they have a brain injury. Guess what, bro? You can't get that insurance anymore. So like those things happen. Stuff happens, heart attack, stroke, anything. Having the client sell you that it's okay to wait to get the insurance is just, I mean, when you really say it like that, it's the most ridiculous thing ever. And I should be ashamed of myself that I was sold that and I accepted that. So that was a great lesson. And that was a great aha moment of just like, okay, first of all, no matter how good rapport you have, you don't skip sections. Every section's important. You don't do, uncovering the pain at the end. You know, you need to get that throughout. It really was a good way for me to see, like, the improvements that I'm making and more improvements I need to make. But it's just amazing to have, a third party, somebody who has a lot of experience, someone who we call the GOAT of final expense, actually like break down your call, give you praise, and then nitpick it so you can get better. I mean, what more can you ask for in this business to have somebody in their first year coming into insurance after being in telesales for, what is that, like 15 years, right? They know people and they know the phone. So it was just amazing, and that's the culture and that's the part of group that I am. And it's amazing because then more that she teaches and I learn, it's kind of like coach the coach. Then the more that then I can develop and teach and pour into agents when they come, because eventually she's going to get too big to really spend a lot of time with everybody, and she's going to focus more on her leaders trying to become her, so therefore that we can duplicate. And that's really what's going on, and it's just amazing. So I just wanted to throw that out there, so you could see the community, you could see what we have going on, and more importantly, you can see the improvement. I did make a sale yesterday. I actually made two. One of them needs to get signed from Transamerica. So the one signed, sealed, delivered, approved, set up, and the other one I'm just waiting on them to come back. It was another child who is autistic, and Trans Solutions is a great standard. They'll take on autistic kids. But the process of getting that thing signed is horrible. So you really want to use Trans Express. I tried that at first, but it declined it for the autism. So that's where we're at. So we had a really good day. I mean, my activity was great for the fact of the amount of like dials I made, to the amount of conversations I had, pickup. So I can really see like me coming into my own, and the confidence is really coming back. This lady that I sold, right off the rip, she was thinking I was the guy that called her yesterday, which I was multiple times, and caught her at, I think she was out in the garage or something. Anyway, she was a pistol. And then when I called back today, she was kind of like getting at me that I called the other day. And, I played it off like that wasn't me. That guy is an idiot. But it was me. And she was really like forceful, like, I'm not going to give you bank account if I don't like what I hear, I hang up on you. Pretty much just a pistol woman who was hung up on other people and straight up told me, like, if you ask me any of those stupid questions like the other idiots do, I'm going to hang up on you. If I don't like what you're saying, I'm going to hang up on you. And we got to talk, and finally we got to a point of where her daughter needed some some coverage, and her daughter actually is going through some health problems too, so they're not in a place where if she passed away that you know she could take care of this. So now she is. We got insurance, and by the end of it, I mean, I swear, our cool down, we chatted for like 15 minutes, and she's telling me stories of her daughter and herself when she's younger. I got all this information to talk with her again the next time I call, and we're like part of the family now. She absolutely adores me, and she's so thankful that I took the time to be there for her and really help her. And so that's really what we do. um, I got a couple of things that I wanted to go over as well, some notes here that I thought were really impactful. You're asking questions, and you're basically just trying to create more of a movement for conversation. So like you got that 30 seconds to buy, 30 seconds to buy a minute. So you're kind of just trying to move the conversation. I thought that was really helpful. And I also thought it was great to know that, if you know nothing about insurance, absolutely nothing, but you know everything about the client, you really can help them. Prospect knowledge is way, way more important and more valuable than product knowledge. If the client, you know everything about them, they trust you, they feel like you're part of the family, they'll be okay with you trying to figure out what company you're going to go with. So always remember that, no matter how much you know about insurance, if you just got started and you feel like you know nothing, no worries. Just spend your time with the client, because prospect knowledge way more important than product knowledge. And then those were some really great things. Listening more than you speak. uh, Talking to them, at like a third grade level. And it's not because they're stupid. It's to make it easy for them to understand. Um, Speaking slower and checking in. These are all good tactics. Doesn't matter if you're on a sales or if you're doing a training, with people. Speaking slower, checking in, getting participation, and dumbing down the conversation so that it's easy to follow, not necessarily that you feel like they're stupid. So those were some really good tips and tricks, and kind of like knowledge that was given out in our meeting today, which I took some notes and I thought was really good to share. So wanted to I know I said I was going to give you guys a tip, and this is from Chris Ball, one of our executives, and I thought it was great for those of you that are new to the insurance game and you don't really understand underwriting. I get it. It can be very intimidating, and you only want to be spending about 5 minutes in tools kits, right? So there's a lot of extra questions in there. And I mean, typically you're looking for, heart, liver, lung, kidney, congestive heart failure, COPD, stroke, cancer, oxygen, the big things. And then you can kind of muddle it down, but you should only be in there about 5 minutes because you just spent all this time in this emotional state, right? So now you don't want to lose them in this logical state. So getting to, into the application as fast as possible. So a way to get better at your underwriting, which was a great tip from Chris Ball. Go to Chat GPT and put in a scenario of a client, and they'll knock it out, and then you use toolkits with Chat GPT to figure it out. So using Chat GPT for scenarios, and then putting that stuff in toolkits, and doing that multiple times will help you get underwriting. It's kind of like having a couple of clients that you're working with, but you're really not. You're using Chat GPT. So awesome tip. Thanks, Chris Ball, sharing it with everybody. We don't hide anything. Anything that we learn, we want everyone to know. Really, I see this in our organization doing something different. About 8% of people make it in the insurance business is what they say. with the community culture and what we have going on, we're going to set a new standard to that. I don't know how high it's going to be, but I guarantee you more than 8% of the people in our organization are going to make it in life insurance. So if you want to be one of those people, if you don't want to fail and you want success, you want to learn a skill that not only you can use in your sales business, but can make you a better father, a better husband, a better wife, a better mother, just a better person, then you need to come check us out. Dead serious. So y'all have a good night. Peace.